Apologies for absent Town Clerk, please.
Thank you. From Councillor Steve Cooper and Stephen Cockett, who's poorly, and Steve Cooper is on holiday. And I may have had apologies from Councillor Ian Bond some time ago because he gave advance notice. So I'll confirm that for the minutes, Chair.
Thank you very much, Town Clerk. Item number 2, declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations of interest on the subjects for this evening? No, thank you very much. If we could record that. So then we go on to the formalities of the minutes of the previous meetings. You have a copy of all of them, and hopefully you have managed to look through them. I understand from the Town Clerk there have been no comments for any changes. So can we take them as approved?
Yes.
So we are approving the Town Council meeting on the 11th of April, the annual Town Council meeting on the 9th of May, and the Planning Committee meetings on the 26th of April and the 10th of May, and that's for information only. Thank you very much. That's item number 3. So moving on to number 4, the finance report from our Town Clerk, please.
Thank you, Chair. The balance at the 30th of April, which is our accounting date for this meeting, was 557,914. And both accounts that we have reconciled to the date. During April, we paid out a total of £79,035, with 14,220 of that attributable to Salisbury Gardens. And another amount of £19,336 was paid to D&, Associates for their work on the new public toilet in March. As usual, the full list of payments is available to members. During the month of April, we received 414,173. The 2 major contributions to that total were the full precept for the 222-23 year, and an unusually high VAT reclaim of 19,774 for the January to March quarter. That was unusually high because we were charged VAT on the public toilet works, and we have of course now reclaimed that to the end of March. The list of payments and receipts will be available for next month. That's partly, councillors, because I've not had time to do the necessary work on spreading the budget over the 12 months of the year. And in any case, the first month is unreliable because it picks up payments that are due to work done last year, so I haven't included it this month, but I will in future. Thank you.
Thank you, Town Clerk. Does any of the councillors have any queries on any of the amounts that they picked out? In which case, can I have a proposer, please? Phil Warren, and a seconder. Ryan Lucas, please. Now, because it's that time of the year, we are now going on to the annual accounts, item number 5. And again, I'll be looking towards the Town Clerk, please.
Thank you. I've just included a first paragraph in the report, which is standard, just reminding members and the public that although you have already received a receipts and payments version of the annual accounts, because our turnover is in excess of 200,000 we're required to submit the formal annual accounts in the form of income and expenditure, including a balance sheet. And that threshold was passed in 2014-15 and is still relevant now. So we have completed the annual accounts on that basis, thanks to the assistance of the qualified accountant called Mike Cox, who does our payroll and also provides support for the preparation of those accounts, because it's not as straightforward as it might look, because it has to take account of payments and receipts that weren't actually relevant to the year in which they happened. That work's now been done, and therefore the accounts for the 21-22 financial year are now with you, showing income for the year of 521,333, which was more than the 504,709 of the previous financial year. But that was more than offset by the increase in expenditure for the financial year, totaling 547,802. So the annual accounts show, as you would have noticed, a deficit for the year of 26,469. And as I've commented here, this is itself offset by the fact that we had a significant surplus in the previous year of 43,394, and in that sense it represents a commitment of reserves, although they're not formally acknowledged as such in our accounts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. So the recommendation is to approve the attached income and expenditure account and related balance sheet for the annual accounts for the financial year 21-22. So can I have a proposer, please? We have a proposer here. We have Mark Jeffrey and a second, James Toogood. Thank you. Now, on to something else other than accounts. We're now going to the fun part, where we're going to talk about item number 6, North Street Playground. This is something that has been going on for quite a few years, and it has taken a very long time to reach this far, but we are now looking at Ventnor Town Council taking control of North Street Playground, which is a very important playground in our town, because there are a lot of children in that area, and we have reached a stage where we are ready to talk about taking over the lease. So if anyone has any comments on this, it would be nice to hear from you. Yes, thank you.
I'm pleased that we're taking a lease of this, because it is, as you say, a very important area for a lot of young families, and I think it's very much underused because it's too plain. It's too plain, it's very uninteresting for a lot of children. Some of the play equipment is a bit uninspiring. And if young families wanted to go there and look after their children, there's nowhere else to sit. I mean, they need a picnic bench. There's all sorts of things which need to be done there, which aren't going to cost a fortune, which would make it into a proper community meeting place for young families and their children. And I'm pleased that it's under our control now, because it's got a lot of potential, and I very much hope that the residents in that area sort of pick up the opportunity of using it more, and perhaps joining a community group, which is what was talked about many years ago. Yeah, so I'm very pleased that we're taking the lease on it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lucas. Councillor Toogood?
Well, I think the part of our plans are going to replace some equipment at some time before we took it back, or have they done that?
I think the town clerk can answer that question.
Thank you, Councillor. You're correct, that was a suggestion from the Isle of Wight Council 3 years ago, when the protest arose about the removal of the swings. But in the discussions that the assistant town clerk and I have each month with the relevant officers from that section of work, we now understand that no funding is available in the current year for any additional equipment from them.
So if I may interject there, I'd like to think that we would be encouraging local people in that area to get involved, as Councillor Lucas said, and also perhaps see if we can be looking for funding, because I do think it is a very drab playground. It's so old, and it really does need something done to it. So we could make that a project, I think. If everyone agrees with that, that it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I agree as well that it will become a great community asset. Does need uplifting in some way. One question I have is in terms of repairs, the lessee will be responsible for all repair and maintenance of existing structures, grounds, boundaries and other facilities. So quite a wide remit, but I assume we will have a close look before we sign the lease to assess the condition and the state of everything before we go ahead. Not wishing to take up anything extra that we're unaware of at the moment.
That's a very good point, thank you. So if we all agree, by the sound of it, that it's a very good idea, the recommendation is that the Town Council is recommended to agree the heads of terms for the lease of North Street area and a quoted cost of £1,040 per annum for safety inspections. Can I have a proposer, please? Brian Lucas, please. And Warren. Thank you very much. The next item is the South White Parishes Health and Wellbeing Forum. Since I go to that one regularly, I don't think I've missed any yet. I can share with you that in an ideal world, I wish you were all there, because some of the speakers that we have are excellent. I've learned things that there would be no other way that I could have learned them. The subjects are very varied, the speakers are interesting, and also the people that go from the other South White councils are interesting. We go to different venues as well. So the proposal is that there hasn't always been a full amount of people that are able to go. So we are suggesting that we have more than 2 people, which was the normal allocation, and we raise it to 3, so that each time, ideally, there would be a minimum of 2 from Ventnor. A lot of the things that have happened, I also want to share with you, have been Ventnor telling other parish councils how we do things, which is quite interesting. And if you do go, I can assure you will be proud to walk in and say you are representing Ventnor. So we have here a recommendation to appoint Councillor Mark Jeffries as one of the representatives to the South White Parish Health and Wellbeing Forum, as he has volunteered. So if everyone is happy with that, or unless there is anyone else that has a burning ambition. Okay, so if someone would like to propose that, then please.
I'll propose that, please.
James Toogood, sorry, and Dave Logan seconding, thank you. You will enjoy it, Mark, I can assure you. It's excellent. So item number 8, and in fact the final item, back to our town clerk for the town clerk's report.
Yes, thank you, Chair. The usual collection of items that have happened and just need to be in the record primarily. They haven't needed town council's formal decision, so the annual town meeting, which personally I thought was wonderful to hear the presentations from that range of voluntary and other organisations. The Wellbeing Cafe and its, thanks to the county press, now famous visit to the Donkey Sanctuary on recently. with the Mayor, Deputy Mayor and Councillor Watkins in attendance as well. The new website, members will be, I hope, pleased with the result of the work of the working group. Councillors Ian Bond, Brian Lucas and Julie Hutchinson, and in particular the work of Nigel Slater Bishop, our Business Development Officer, who has done an enormous amount of work in translating the working group's guidance into the reality of the sites that you can now peruse at your leisure. We will be producing statistics on the access to that website, and we'll share those from time to time. The Isle of Wight Challenge was very successful in Town Council's contribution to that, with making the green room and the green available to them as well as part of the car park. And they were very pleased with the result. The amazing Dog Fest, organised by the then Deputy Mayor, proved to be an amazing success too. And the dates of the working groups are listed as usual. And I've also recorded the fact that I was joined this time round by Councillor Mark Jeffreys at the MP's latest monthly session for town and parish councils. And Mayor, would you allow me to ask Councillor Jeffreys if we found that useful or interesting or worth attending? Or...
Certainly, that was wonderful. So can we hear from you, please?
Yes, I certainly did find it interesting, and I would certainly recommend anybody else to actually attend, if they get a chance to attend it. It's, it was
Can you give us an idea of subjects covered, please?
one of them was the roads policing team. We're going to have, apparently, we're going to have 2 dedicated officers on the island as a road policing team. At the moment, I don't know if you know that it's the ARV response team that actually do that in the time that they aren't doing any ARV work. But there's going to be actually 2 dedicated officers to actually do that work from now on.
And any other subjects? I'm sure you teach.
Yes, yes, it is. The MP referred to it as how I say it, about the housing crisis on the island, about protecting more farmland and green space. It's certainly sort of like an idea at the moment. Obviously, these things will have to all the way go through Parliament, but yeah, that was the main 2 issues on there really. So.
Excellent, thank you very much, Councillor Jeffreys. Did you want to add anything? No, you don't need to add anything. Oh, well, that must be a record meeting, I think. Yes, but the subjects that we had have all been covered. So thank you very much for attending.
Could I just ask
yes.
a question? Item 8 on this last town touch form. 8A is T and then B is nothing. So I wonder, is anything missing on that? Or
I think our feeling as staff, and we're open to guidance on this, is that we've more or less completed that programme. There was planned for a session next Monday, but the community shed was part of that, and obviously you gave an excellent report.
yeah.
But unless you want to reconvene, then...
No, that's fine. I just wondered if there was going to be something against A and B there. So
Oh, I thought there would be.
Okay, that's absolutely fine.
Okay, thank you. So we'll take 2 now.